Nestled on the outskirts of a sleepy town, the Golden Sunset Motel stood as an enigma, a relic from a time long past. Its faded sign, once vibrant and inviting, now creaked ominously in the wind. Its paint had weathered, peeling to reveal a history marred by the passage of time. For Rachel, a weary traveler seeking respite from a storm, the motel seemed like a beacon of hope amid the darkness. As she stepped into the dimly lit lobby, a chill ran down her spine. The air was thick, heavy with a sense of foreboding. A disheveled man named Walter greeted her, his eyes distant and hollow. "Welcome to the Golden Sunset Motel," he mumbled, handing her a key. "Room 13. It's the only one available." Inside her room, Rachel tried to shake off her unease. The walls seemed to whisper secrets, and shadows danced along the edges of her vision. The clock on the nightstand ticked relentlessly, each sound echoing in the stillness. Exhausted, she lay down, her eyes heavy, but sleep remained elusive. As the night wore on, the atmosphere grew more oppressive. The lights flickered, casting eerie shapes on the walls. Rachel heard faint whispers, as if the very walls held a sinister secret. Suddenly, the room plunged into darkness, and a cold breeze swept through the air. Rachel's heart raced as she fumbled for her phone, using its dim glow to navigate the room. A sense of dread settled over her as she heard footsteps outside her door. Heavy, deliberate footsteps that sent a shiver down her spine. She backed against the wall, her breath shallow, as the doorknob began to turn slowly. The door swung open, revealing a figure shrouded in darkness. Rachel's voice caught in her throat as she stumbled back, her eyes wide with terror. The figure's eyes gleamed with an otherworldly intensity, a chilling smile playing on its lips. Rachel's instincts kicked in as she dodged the figure's lunge, her fear giving way to a surge of adrenaline. She grabbed a nearby lamp and swung it with all her might, the room erupting in chaos as the figure evaded her attack. Objects flew through the air, crashing to the ground with a deafening clatter. Desperation fueled Rachel's actions as she bolted toward the window, her heart pounding. She smashed the glass, ignoring the cuts that marred her skin, and climbed out onto the rain-soaked ground. The figure pursued her relentlessly, its laughter echoing through the storm. Rachel's breath came in ragged gasps as she sprinted through the motel grounds. Lightning illuminated her path, revealing an old shed at the edge of the property. Gasping for air, she stumbled inside and slammed the door shut, her chest heaving as she tried to steady herself. Her flashlight beam revealed a collection of dusty old journals, each filled with handwritten entries that told a chilling tale. The motel, it seemed, had once been a sanctuary for a cult that worshipped a malevolent entity. They had conducted dark rituals in the very rooms Rachel had passed through, and the figure she had encountered was a manifestation of their evil. Determined to survive, Rachel emerged from the shed, her heart heavy with the weight of the motel's dark history. The storm raged on, lightning illuminating the motel's abandoned swimming pool. She knew that the only way to end the terror was to confront the malevolent entity head-on. As she stood by the pool, the figure materialized before her, its form distorted and grotesque. Rachel's fear transformed into a fierce resolve as she faced the embodiment of evil. She chanted words of protection and strength, her voice a defiant declaration of her will to survive. The motel grounds became a battleground as Rachel and the entity clashed in a cataclysmic struggle. Lightning illuminated their every move, casting an otherworldly glow on the scene. Rachel ducked and dodged, narrowly avoiding the entity's attacks while delivering her own fierce blows. With each strike, the entity's form wavered, its power weakening. Rachel's determination never wavered as she channeled her fear into strength. She summoned every ounce of courage, every shard of her will, until finally, with a final powerful blow, the entity dissipated into a swirling vortex of shadows. The storm began to subside, and the air grew still as the entity's presence vanished. Rachel stood, breathless and battered, victorious over the malevolent force that had haunted the motel. She knew that the curse had been broken, that the motel was finally free from the grip of darkness. As dawn broke, Rachel emerged from the motel grounds, her body aching but her spirit unbroken. The Golden Sunset Motel, once a place of terror and despair, stood as a testament to her bravery and resilience. Its dark past was replaced by a glimmer of hope, a reminder that even in the face of unimaginable horror, the strength of the human spirit could prevail. And as the first rays of sunlight bathed the motel in a golden hue, the sign flickered to life once more, a beacon of promise and renewal for those who passed by. The shadows of the forgotten motel had been banished, replaced by the warmth of a new day. Weeks had passed since Rachel's harrowing encounter at the Golden Sunset Motel, yet the memories still haunted her every waking moment. Despite her efforts to move on, the echoes of that night lingered in her dreams, an ever-present reminder of the darkness she had faced. Determined to find closure, Rachel delved deeper into the motel's history. She scoured local archives, seeking answers to the questions that had plagued her since that fateful night. As she unearthed forgotten tales of the cult that had once called the motel home, Rachel realized that the malevolent entity she had encountered was just one piece of a much larger puzzle. Rachel's obsession with the Golden Sunset Motel grew, driving her back to its doorstep. Armed with newfound knowledge, she arrived at the town once again, her heart set on unraveling the motel's secrets once and for all. The town had changed little since her last visit. Its streets were quiet, its residents oblivious to the darkness that lurked within the motel's walls. Upon her return to the motel, Rachel felt a familiar chill in the air. The wind whispered tales of forgotten horrors, and shadows seemed to dance in the corners of her vision. She stood before the motel, a mixture of trepidation and determination coursing through her veins. Rachel entered the lobby, her footsteps echoing in the silence. The same disheveled man, Walter, greeted her with a vacant stare. "Welcome back," he muttered, his voice devoid of emotion. Rachel's heart raced as she requested room 13 once more, the room where her nightmare had begun. Inside the room, Rachel's gaze swept over the familiar surroundings. The walls held the memories of that night, the whispers and shadows that had nearly consumed her. Determined to face her fears, she retraced her steps, reliving the moments of her desperate struggle for survival. As Rachel explored the motel, she discovered a hidden passage that led her to the basement, a place untouched by time. The air grew heavier, leaden with the weight of forgotten rituals and malevolent intentions. Old journals, similar to the one she had found in the shed, lined the walls, chronicling the cult's sinister practices. The basement seemed to pulse with an eerie energy, as if the walls themselves held the memories of the horrors that had transpired within. Rachel's heart pounded as she pieced together the puzzle, realizing that the malevolent entity she had battled was just one of the many spirits trapped within the motel's walls. As night fell, a storm raged outside, its fury mirroring the turmoil within the motel. Rachel's determination burned brighter as she delved deeper into the basement's secrets. She uncovered a ritual that had been used to bind the spirits to the motel, a ritual that could potentially free them from their torment. Armed with the knowledge she had gathered, Rachel prepared herself for a confrontation that would test her resolve and courage. The malevolent spirits sensed her presence, their whispers growing louder, their shadows more menacing, but Rachel was undeterred, her will unbreakable. In the heart of the basement, Rachel stood, surrounded by the oppressive energy of the malevolent spirits. She began the ritual, her voice steady as she recited ancient words of power. The air crackled with tension, and the room seemed to tremble as the spirits fought against her efforts. A fierce battle ensued, as the spirits unleashed their wrath upon Rachel. Shadows coalesced into sinister forms, and whispers filled the air like a cacophony of malevolent voices. But Rachel's determination was unwavering, and she channeled the strength of her will into the ritual, her voice rising above the darkness. As Rachel's voice reached a crescendo, a blinding light enveloped the basement, dispelling the shadows and banishing the malevolent spirits. The room trembled as the spirits' energy dissipated, their tormented visages fading into nothingness. Rachel's heart swelled with a sense of accomplishment and relief as the ritual's power took hold. The storm outside began to subside, its fury quelled by the forces that had clashed within the motel's walls. Rachel emerged from the basement, her body weary, but her spirit triumphant. The Golden Sunset Motel was finally free from the grip of darkness, its haunting legacy shattered by her courage and determination. As the first rays of dawn broke through the clouds, Rachel stood outside the motel, the weight of the past lifting from her shoulders. The once faded sign of the Golden Sunset Motel now glowed with renewed vitality, its neon letters a symbol of the victory over the forces of evil that had once plagued its halls. Rachel knew that her journey was not just one of survival, but of redemption. The town, once shrouded in ignorance, would now know the truth of the motel's dark history. The shadows that had lingered for decades had been vanquished, replaced by a newfound sense of hope and renewal. As Rachel prepared to leave the town behind, she took one final look at the Golden Sunset Motel. The memories of her harrowing experience would forever be etched in her mind, a reminder of the strength she had found within herself. She knew that her journey had been a testament to the power of resilience and the triumph of light over darkness. With a determined smile, Rachel turned away from the motel, ready to embrace the future that awaited her. The road stretched out before her, a symbol of endless possibilities and the promise of a life free from the shadows of the past. Years later, the legend of Rachel's bravery spread throughout the town, becoming a whispered tale passed down through generations. The Golden Sunset Motel underwent a transformation, its tainted history replaced by stories of redemption and triumph. The town itself flourished, no longer burdened by the malevolent forces that had once threatened its existence. Yet, as the years went by, a lingering mystery remained. The old journals and forgotten rituals hinted at a greater darkness that had existed beyond the walls of the motel. Some believed that the malevolent spirits were not the only ones bound by the cult's rituals, that there were other forces lurking in the shadows, waiting to be unearthed.